Welcome to my Big Brain Dojo, everyone. Today we have the simplest version of a map everyone should be familiar with by now, but I made sure that this video was as straight to the point as possible, as well as offering the best implementation of these mechanics that I was able to squeeze out, which only uses 4 channels. But that's enough logistics for now. Let's get started with the tutorial. We'll be using teleporters to move our players around, but you'll still need spawn pads for the beginning of the rounds. You can place your spawn pads in some kind of round start area, which could be your island start if you just want to do that, but keep in mind you'll want enough spawn pads for the amount of players you want in your island, and remember to set the priority group to primary. Once you've done that, we're going to place some devices out of sight or out of the way, starting with a round settings device. We're going to put our box fights on our even rounds and our zone wars on our odd rounds. If you prefer to do it any other way, feel free to do so. Set this round settings device to round 1, and on round start, transmit channel 1. Copy and paste this and set the new one to round 3. Copy and paste again, set this one to round 5, and do that for as many odd number rounds as your heart desires. Now on a new round settings device, we're going to set it to round 2, and on round start, transmit on channel 2, and then copy and paste these for all of the even number rounds that you want. Next, we'll place an item granter that we'll use to teleport our players to the areas they need to go. We'll do this by dropping one bullet onto the device, and in the options we'll set receiving players to all players, grant item when receiving from channel 1, and when item granted, transmit on channel 3. Copy and paste this device, and the only option you're going to change on this one is grant item when receiving from channel 2. Now we'll need an item granter for our loot, so place a new one and drop your desired Zone Wars loadout onto the device. Now in the options, set enabled on game start to no, receiving players to triggering player, on grant action keep all, grant all items, enable when receiving from channel 1, and grant item when receiving from channel 3. Copy and paste this granter, and in the options, click the gear icon in the lower left and select clear items, and then make sure you press OK. Then, drop your desired box fight loadout onto the granter. Now go back into the options and set enable when receiving from channel 2 and grant item when receiving from channel 3. One last thing you'll want to do if you plan to use barriers at the beginning of the round is place a timed objective device. In the options, give it some custom label text which appears on screen while the timer counts down. Then set the time to whatever you want it to be, and set start when receiving from to channel 1, and when completed, transmit on channel 4. Now copy and paste this and change start when receiving from to channel 2. And now you can customize the messages for each game mode. Now we can move on to setting up the teleporters. We'll start with our Zone Wars area. Make sure you've prepared your players' spawn locations, and once you're ready, place a teleporter at one. In the options, set teleporter group and target group both to none, enabled during phase none, set the team to team 1, set these 4 options to no, and this one to yes, teleport to when receiving from channel 3, and enable when receiving from channel 1. Now copy this teleporter and paste it in the next player spawn, and just increase the team up by 1. So I'm going from team 1 to team 2 now. The idea is, in a free-for-all, everyone is on their own team, so you want each team to have its own teleporter. So keep copying and pasting the teleporters. Each time you paste one, just increase the team by 1, all the way up to team 16, or however many teams you need for your map. Also, if you'd like to add a barrier that drops a few seconds after round start, you can either block your players' spawns with one large barrier if your setup looks like this, or you can place a barrier for each individual spawn and set all of them to the same settings I'm about to show you now. So once you have a barrier placed, in the options, give your barrier a style, set the zone shape to box hollow, make sure the dimensions here are set up correctly to cover or block your player's spawn, and then set disable when receiving from to channel 4. For the Zone Wars Storm, you can choose to use either a basic or advanced storm controller, but for this video we'll be setting up a basic one, and I'm only going to show you how to get it functional, but fine-tuning the size and movement times will be up to you. I go over this more in my Zone Wars tutorial if you're interested in that information. Now in the options, set Generate Storm on game start to no, delay time to 5 seconds, and Generate Storm when receiving from channel 1. Now for the box fights. To save yourself a lot of time, just copy a teleporter from your Zone Wars area and paste it over to the box fights area so it saves the settings from before. And now in the options, just change the team to Team 1 and enable when receiving from channel 2. Now you're going to copy and paste this teleporter the same way you did in the Zone Wars area, where every time you paste one, you increase the team by 1, copy paste, and repeat until you have as many as you need. If you'd like to have barriers in the beginning of your box fight rounds, you can place them at each player spawn as shown and set each one to box hollow and disable when receiving from channel 4. That's all you need to do as far as devices go, but let's go over some island settings you might want to have. Have teams set to free-for-all, spawn limit 1, team rotation every round, last standing ends game on, and in the settings tab, set starting shields to 100%, fall damage on, glider redeploy off, and health granted on elimination to 50. The rest you can customize as needed to fit your map. And that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Thank you for watching. See ya.